Alrighty, good morning everybody. It's Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022. Let's go ahead and jump into our pre-market here. What I want to do first is go to yesterday's market and just go over what I saw here and how we got that short out of the we got a short just after the open, I should say. Um, let's scroll back here, find the open. So the market opened right around here. We had very negative market internals when everything opened. I mean, granted, if you just look, the market was obviously selling off pretty wild here for the last whatever it's been now, 3 days, and or at least 2 days before that. So we came into the open and market went ahead and pushed right up into the 200 moving average. As you can see, it did break about 2.25 points there and then failed. And just after the market came up into the 200 and failed, we got our first clue on the market internals for a bearish signal, which officially got a nice close here as things were starting to break back down. And so as the market came back into the 200, we then got our golden confluence here. And I should probably have marked that as well. Let me just, I think it's F6 here. We got our golden confluence right here when the market internals were still showing a nice, beautiful bearish signal. And we got our second signal, and it was right off of a critical level. And that's where I got short. And my targets were down into 66 because, again, you never know if they're going to come into 66 and bounce and never come back. And then I took my next target down at the next expected support zone and took it off just a few ticks in front. So a nice trade right about 30 minutes after the open, short from the 200, targeting 66 and 56 here for what ended up turning into, I think it was like what, about 14 points to the downside. So not a bad trade. Now when the price came into our support level here, we started getting bullish market internal signals. In fact, there were 3 signals that printed, or at least in this area, as the market was finding support from here. And I think what happened was they bounced out, but there was just not enough strength to get through. So they peaked up through the 200 a few times here. I don't think it broke by much more than about, I guess it was just under 2 points. So if you did take the 200 short, you had a 2-point stop, 2.5-point stop, never got hit, and then they continued, well, they tried to continue lower there. But you can see that our first expected support zone became a pretty important level until they came up and failed just in front of 66 and continued to break lower. And the rest of the day, like I said, we don't trade much past the first hour. So after that, looks like it continued to travel back down lower and then chopped around right around the 41-42 major level here, trying to stay below it. Some attempts to get back up above it. And then here in the overnight session coming into this morning, you can see it's kind of wishy-washy here. They keep trying to break up and hold above 42, and then they get pushed back down below, and then it breaks back up again. So very balanced over here right now. And this is where we are coming into this morning. So let's go ahead and jump up to the daily chart. We'll take a look and see if there's any clear signals, and then we'll look for levels. So let's go ahead and pull this sucker up. We'll go to the daily chart here, and we've been talking about this, I think, for I think just yesterday maybe, that as we continue to sell off, and maybe it was ever since Friday's lows, we've been talking about what could be a potential bullish divergence if the market holds above that 41.13 area. But truthfully, you can still make the argument from the lows back at 40.79 and from these lows back at 3900. So it's one of those horrible situations where there is what looks to be a potential bullish divergence, but there's still a lot of room that the market could pull back into before it actually closes, or you know what I mean. So this is, for whatever it's worth, we do have this potential bullish divergence as we continue to pull back on the daily chart, and that just might be the situation here. If it continues to pull back all the way to the 3900 area. So I'm watching it. Again, when you're in these protracted moves, like right now we're in a very strong protracted sell-off, you might actually have to watch these, but understand that there's a lot of room for this to continue to develop. So it's just an observation for now. No strong bias in terms of a trade idea or something. Let's go down to the 4-hour and let's see. So 4-hour did also get, and in this case, we got two strong bullish divergences on the 4-hour from the overnight low, and I think that was the low of yesterday. So the 4-hour at least has a closed signal. It is official. And again, if the daily was to just hold the way it looks right now, and the market starts pushing this morning, and this closes down around here, then yeah, it will be there. But at least we have a closed signal and it's official on the 4-hour right now. Let's go down to the 60, and that's really all I can say down here on the 4-hour. I guess what we can also do is talk about the three retracements back up this morning. So assuming the low of the overnight session does not break, we have that 43.27 half. If I could get that down to the low of the overnight session, which was 41.18. So we've got 41.98, 42.22 and 3/4, and then I believe that's 42.47 half. So those are the three major retracements back up for this leg. And like I said, if the low of the overnight session breaks and they go lower, we're going to have to redraw this leg, and these will shift up or down. Or more so, it probably shift down. So that's what we have as far as major retracements to the upside. And then remember, yesterday we talked about this whole leg up from 36.39 all the way to that high we made a few days ago at 43.27 half. We have those other three major retracements down, 39.02, 39.80 3/4, and 40.64 half. So those are the bigger retracements back down if the market continues to chug in that direction. And I think that's really all I could say here on the 4-hour. Let's go down to the 60-minute and just start talking about what are the most relevant levels here coming into the open. So right now, I drew this in before I started the pre-market. We're starting to get what could be a little 60-minute bullish signal from the most immediate price. And from yesterday's low and the overnight low, same thing as the 4-hour, two nice closed bullish signals from those lows. Now, like I have to keep reiterating, in these type of protracted moves, you are going to get counter signals to tell you that there should be a move to back in the opposite direction of the momentum. But a lot of times you get just these little shallow attempts and then it keeps going lower. So this morning, it's the same thing that we say in these type of situations on these type of mornings. We do have some good arguments for the bulls from yesterday's low and the overnight low. And right now on the 60-minute here on this pullback, assuming we don't break the overnight low, we've also got that 60-minute bullish signal off of the most recent low. So the question becomes, how far can they take it? You can see a lot of times we'll get a bullish signal. It bounces just a shallow bounce, and then it's swatted back down again. And you get all these little shallow bounces, but much more protracted moves to the downside. So how far are these signals going to get to the upside this morning? That will be the question. And it very well could be that just in this area right here, this just continues to sell off. We break through the overnight low at 41.18 and it keeps going, right? There's so many different possibilities I could sit here and list. But instead of doing that, what I'd like to do is just cover if the bulls do end up holding and pushing this morning and they get through the overnight high, what levels will be the most relevant levels to be aware of. And then we'll talk about down below us here, the levels down here, although a lot of them are just the same levels we've been dealing with for a while. So right now, let's zoom in to where we are. We're holding right around the low of yesterday, right around our OPL. In fact, it just pushed up above it right now. So first things first, if they can get up through that overnight high, we're going to be coming up into 66. We're going to be coming up into 41.75 half to 76 half here. We've got the two minor eye levels, obviously, in between before we get to that first retracement that we talked about a few minutes ago. And then we have the major eye level, and then this swing right here, this significant overnight low from the 21st there, sitting here about 42.06. We've got another minor eye level, and then there's a little pocket here, just about 41.21 quarter to 23. Call it a little 2-point pocket. That would make sense. In fact, 25, 21, we've got something going on right here, 21 to 25. Major swing, and all of this stuff lining up with the major retracement and the high of yesterday and the minor eye level. So that would be a pocket there. Let me go ahead and just make sure this is on all the charts. And then it would, and I know it's a lot of levels, but we're just pushing up into all of this stuff that we were dealing with earlier. So we've got 38, we've got the next retracement, we've got this swing low just in front of the retracement or just above it at 49. And then we have 55 into 56 half, 63, 42.85, and then we're back up to that major swing, the high of the move down, the high being 27 half, the major level 24 half, the other major level at 06 will be in the way, and then it's up into every level above is levels we've talked about for weeks. So you should already know about those. On the flip side of things, if the bears do rip things lower and get through the overnight low, we've got 07 half, 94 quarter, 81, the major retracement at 64. We've got a swing here around 58, and then we have that pocket 42 to 44, which has been a real nub in the past. And then these levels should be familiar. Everything down here, all the same levels we've talked about for weeks as well. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of help this morning, and we're going to go ahead and get ready for the open here. So have a great day.